Welcome back, friends. LostScarf here, and it's time for us to get to the next Marvel movie. What we're doing here, of course, is we're watching all the Marvel movies again. What do we think before and then after? So, our tag for this one is otherwise nice people argue with each other over who's the bigger asshole until the argument is settled for them. So, yeah, it's because they all come together, and then for some reason they're strong personalities and hate each other, and then things go wrong, and then they get together. It's understandable because Tony Stark's there. It's really understandable because of Tony Stark, honestly. Um, it's interesting how Tony and Bruce get together so well, and yet they always focus on Steve and Tony being really get along really well, but they never really do in the movies. I feel they're supposed to be like the best of friends, but they're not really. They just really respect each other. I think in the MCU. I think. This is the big one. This is what they put all this together towards this movie. Like the first big one before Infinity War was the next big one. And it worked out. The budget was $220 million. Iron Man 2 was $200 million. They made $1.5 billion. $1.5 billion. Holy crap, they made money on this movie. Jesus. Everyone came to see it. And everyone came to see it more than once. I saw it 2 or 3 times in theaters. We all know it's going to be number 1 on the list. We don't even bother with that. It's going to be number 1 on mine and Jinx's list. For sure. And then we'll see what comes past that. Eventually. Because it won't stay number 1 forever. But it will be for now. As far as scenes that we remember right now. Of course, you remember Coulson's death. I remember Black Widow outsmarting Loki, but doesn't work out anyway because everyone's just being an ass towards each other. And the Galaga scene, that one cracked me up. That gave me a good laugh. Everyone laughed at that. I remember that. Joss Whedon is the director, and it does have some Whedon feel to it because you have these random little jokes in it. And arguably that kind of just added to what Marvel is now, where they just have all these jokes going on. There's always been jokes, but they never were on point, were they? Thinking about it. How on point were the jokes in the MCU pre-Avengers? I'd like to show you my ass. There were just random jokes that kind of worked, or they just fell flat. And I feel like Avengers just had a lot of really good ones, and that kind of just set the tone for what to do next. And so from that on, you just have a lot of action and a lot of comedy, and it just worked out very well. I really feel like this really set that tone, was the Avengers movie, especially because it broke 1.5 billion. All the other movies didn't even get to half that. So, of course, we should probably be very much like this movie. And it makes sense for that. The Stan Lee cameo, no memory. I remember the Age of Ultron one. I don't remember this one. I've been thinking and searching, and I cannot find it in my mind. I don't remember what it is. And there's a lot of scenes with old men in this. There's the old man who stands up to Loki like he's Hitler. There's the old man with Hulk going you got a condition. And I swear to God he's Abe Vigoda, but he's not Abe Vigoda. I don't remember what the Stan Lee scene is. I really don't. My favorite scene has got to be the relay race, which is what I call it, is the scene where it goes from each character doing something really cool in the big finale fight. You just goes to next character, next character, next character, next character. And they do it again in Age of Ultron. I think it's really good there, too. They don't do it in Infinity War because the team's separated. I'm hoping we see some big team-up thing again in Endgame. I really am hoping for that. But I think that's everything. Am I going to like it? I know I'm going to like it. I loved it then. I'm going to love it now. I'm sure about that. I might come down a bit more just on the lens of seeing it now after so long. Especially the complaint everyone makes about how Thor really tried to kill Captain America. I think Thor just believed he could block it. He had a shield. I don't know. Or he thought Captain America would dodge. That's the thing. Thor killed a lot of Frost Giants, but I think the person with the highest kill count, at least that we see on screen, might be Iron Man. Iron Man, I think, has the highest kill count on screen. Off screen, Thor's been killing people for thousands of years. Yeah, since Captain America was in WW2, he probably killed more people than Iron Man. probably. Like, these are all killers. Thinking about it. I think as far as like even in the comics, if anyone's killed people, it's probably Captain America because he was a World War II soldier. They make a big deal about how people don't kill in the comics, but I'm pretty sure Captain America, out of all of them, probably has killed people, and then he just stopped. But let's get to this movie and see what everyone thinks after. Movie over. Oh my god. Okay, so it's good. It's good. It's really good. Top of the list. Number one. It's number one. I just thinking about it is you wonder when did they know they were gonna do the Infinity Stones? Like, you wonder, was the scepter always meant to be the Mind Stone? Was the Tesseract always meant to be the Space Stone? Like, maybe the Mind Stone was meant to be the Mind Stone. Because it. Maybe they just realized they can make it the Mind Stone because of the mind control they do with it. And the Tesseract, they talk about how it's got like the power of space in it. So maybe they always knew they were going to make the Infinity Stones, or at least the Tesseract might be an Infinity Stone, but then they decided to make the Scepter one. I don't know. There's just clues to it that maybe these are Infinity Stones, and just where we are now, you get it like, yeah, these are definitely Infinity Stones. Especially when you get to the end of the movie, when they use the Scepter, which has the Mind Stone, to turn off the Tesseract, which is the Space Stone. It just makes it seem like they had some ideas going on there. Or at least there was, like, when you get that scene, you think they just mean because it seems like it's powered by the same thing the Tesseract's powered by. That's why they can use the Scepter on the Tesseract. Because Steve himself said it just looks like a Hydra weapon to him. And so maybe could have gotten it that way back then. But now with Infinity War and everything, it's like, okay, so yeah, it's one stone to counter another stone that happened there. And you just wonder, how far ahead did they really plan this out? Because the interesting thing is, just a statement from Whedon was, he actually just added Thanos to the movie because he's a fan of Thanos. That's it. He didn't have a plan. He just added him to the end of there. Like, that is pretty nuts. That's really nuts. But there's just interesting things seeing this movie again after so many years and just knowing things later on, and it's just so interesting. It really is. And one is, I remember when Age of Ultron came out and people saw the movie and then they had a reaction to when it comes to Bruce Banner and Black Widow, where he says, "What you want to do? Have a family, kids, and all that stuff? We can't do that because there's gamma radiation, blood, and all that." And people assumed it was Bruce Banner talking about assuming what Natasha wanted, and I always saw it as he was just projecting because that's what he wants. And there's a clue there in Avengers 1, because there's a scene when he first meets Black Widow and they're talking in that hut, and he says, just mentions like there's things that he wants that he can't have or something like that, whatever the exact wording is to that. And he's looking at a baby crib when that happens. He's got his hand on a crib when he says that. And he's looking at it. It's like right there. Like, Bruce Banner wants to have a family, but because of his gamma blood and all that, he can't have one. So it's very interesting that there was hints of that in the first movie. And just seeing hints of just different things about the characters that get carried over to the other movies, it's just so interesting. And also just seeing it like, just things they do is like, there's no way they had a plan for these other things, or if they did, holy crap. Just potential seeds, or just things that influence things that they made later on in the later movies. It's just so interesting in that. Something that I always found weird is there's not much about Howard Stark, really. Like, Captain America mentions Howard a little bit, or Tony will mention his dad a little bit, but there's never that conversation where they just talk about Tony's dad. At least we never see that, where, because Captain America worked alongside him, and, well, Tony Stark was his son. I found it interesting to never have a conversation like that. One thing that's for sure is the CG is just so much better. Of course, they've had a couple of years to get better at it since Iron Man. And it just got better, and it's just been getting better since then. Oh yeah, the Stan Lee scene. The friggin' Stan Lee scene. I just couldn't remember where it is, and it's at the end of the movie. And it's not a very good Stan Lee scene, but it's just like, right before it comes, like, oh yeah, that's where it is. This is the Stan Lee cameo. And we saw other older men earlier. I can't remember if we mentioned earlier. The old man who stands up to Loki like he's Hitler. The old man who's there with Hulk, and then there's Stanley at the end there. It's a pretty good movie. I enjoyed it a lot. It's number one on the list for me at this point, and it's number one for Jinx at the list at this point as well. And the next movie is going to be, because we're going to be in phase 2 at this point, it's going to be Iron Man 3. Wow, Iron Man 3. I can't believe, like, it's been so many years since the last Iron Man movie. Then it's Thor the Dark World, Captain America Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers, Age of Ultron, and then Ant-Man 2. Ant-Man 1. That's phase 2. I feel like Ant-Man, they weren't able to get it out before Avengers just because of scheduling. Or maybe they were still filming it or something. Because Ant-Man being the end of phase 2 and not Avengers is so weird. But I guess it's also because Ant-Man's not in Avengers, so it's fine to have it after. But yeah, next one's going to be Iron Man 3, which is so divisive. And we'll talk about that when we get there. And then Thor the Dark World, which is not divisive at all. Everyone is mostly in consensus on how they feel about that one. And then Captain America Winter Soldier, which is, by so many people, one of the greatest movies in the MCU. So we got got an interesting ride coming up. But that's it for this one. Next time we'll be doing Iron Man 3. So this has been the video with Marvel movies. What did you think of the Avengers? What scenes stand out to you? I just really like the relay shot. I just love when it goes from one character to the next. It's my favorite shot. It's my favorite one in the movie. And I just like the jokes. I like they start finding what they are as far as humor and action balance. So what do you think? I have fun talking before watching and listening, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? Having fun. Come by and see you next time.